the question that I've been pondering lately. Why haven't we released prisoners convicted of drug charges if those drugs are now legal, such as weed? And the answer to that question is the same exact reason why we don't bring home our service members as often as we would like and as often as they would like. It's because there's not enough jobs here. It sucks. The reason why the jobs don't exist is because there are people out there that limit the amount of access to opportunity that other individuals get to profit off of. I'm not saying that billionaires shouldn't exist, but to truly understand why they shouldn't exist, you need to understand how much $1 billion is. It's such a ridiculous number that most of us don't ever think about it, because it's something that'll never be in our grasp anytime soon. But if I were to give you $1 billion and tell you that if I were to give you $1 billion and say, hey, spend this all in 1 year, you would look at me like I'm crazy. Because even if you were to go out and buy a $500 million home, you now own something worth $500 million. $1 billion is an abundance of wealth that no one needs. And I'm not saying you should take it from these people, right? Because you did work your way up to that point. I don't know how you did it. We would all want to know the secret. But that's the fun part about it. There's only a certain amount of them because they created this product, this service, this business that was able to get where it is today, that we can call it $1 billion corporation. And again, I'm not saying that billionaires or $1 billion corporations shouldn't exist, but they shouldn't exist under our current climate. Someone has $1 billion and they can walk down the street and see people that have nothing and think the reason why they have nothing is because of their life choices, or because they haven't worked hard enough, or because they have some type of mental issue, or they have some type of drug problem. And because of those things that they have deemed okay for that person to be in that circumstances, they go, you don't deserve my wealth. Who are you? But back to the problem. There's such an abundance of wealth amongst $1 billion, right? And because these people decide to hold on to that wealth, not distribute it in a responsible way or any type of way, other people don't have the opportunity to gain wealth for themselves. So if you had, I'm going to take a perfect example. Something that I was listening to on Breaking Points with Crystal and Sagar. They talked about how Jeff Bezos and in part Elon Musk as well, they are responsible for the lack of progression that exists within the space industry, right? And it's a one-sided argument on that sense, and we can touch on that right now. Because they want to privatize that business, you limit the amount of people that have access to that opportunity, right? Like if I have $1 billion and I say only these people can come into this industry to figure out how it works, and you are the person that has to say so, then how are other people supposed to get access to that same information if you hold it hostage? Because I can't get access to $1 billion corporation or $1 billion person. I don't have the access that they do or the information that they do. But there's always two sides of the coin. And the other side of the coin is NASA performed this experiment in listen, I'm just going to give rough numbers. It was like mid to late 2000s. I don't know what it was. But NASA performed an experiment saying, hey, we have we have hit a stagnation in our ability to explore space, or I don't know how to word that, but we're going to leave it as is. So what NASA did is they said, hey, we need more people to explore the possibility that you could get to space. So they held a contest. They said, if you can get to the stratosphere and come back down, we will give you $10 million, I think it was. So a bunch of people, they got together, held a contest, and NASA basically said, you need to prove that you can do this on your computer through your calculations before you do it. Make sure that it's safe to do so. That's an example of allowing people access to information that they wouldn't have in their everyday life and proving to them, hey, you can actually do this on your own, right? So that government-funded program went into everyday society, and it helped us understand, you know what, you can actually do these things if you have access to more information. So why are billionaires responsible for prisoners not being released from jails? All right, that's the question at hand. And again, it's not necessarily that I'm placing the blame on you, the billionaire or the billion-dollar corporation. I'm placing the blame on the system itself. Capitalism is very, very good, and it works. But to say it doesn't have flaws is like saying that the vaccine doesn't. If you have $1 billion, right, and you refuse to share that wealth with the rest of the world, and I'm not saying they refuse to do so, I'm just making an argument here. If you sit on $1 billion and you refuse to share that wealth with the rest of the world, what if the community that you exist in only has access to $1 billion, but you have it all? Is your argument that they didn't work hard enough? They didn't try hard enough to get your $1 billion? That doesn't make any sense. Let's say you have a business idea. Well, how do you go about starting that business? Well, in order to do so, you need to go to a bank. Get a loan to start off your business, or that's how the system's currently set up. That bank looks at your past history of investments or your past history of financial gain, and they justify your business or not. But the bank also justifies that based on how much money they have access to. So obviously the banks carry the money, but they just carry everyone else's money, and then they make investments off of that money to create more wealth. What the billionaire would be doing in this situation would say, you can't have any of my money. The billionaire is the bank in this situation. The billionaire has access to all of the funds that we need to give other people the opportunity to create a business for themselves. Right? Because how much money does a bank have? Billions of dollars. When you give one person that billions of dollars, no one's perfect, right? Of course, they're going to do what they can to better their circumstance and the people around them, as well as if they have a company, to do what's best for them as well. But the reason why you can't have one person have all of that money is because that's too much money for one person to have and create enough wealth and opportunities for others by themselves. That's why a bank isn't just one person. It's a group of people that come together and go, okay, we need to look at this together and say, all right, this is a good investment. We should give this person the money. Now, because the billion-dollar corporations exist, what ends up happening is the banks bet on those billion-dollar corporations to win and exist, right? They said this company will keep going on. We shouldn't look into smaller markets because this one's going to keep making billions of dollars. We have a win here. There's no reason to take a chance on the other stuff. Again, I'm not saying billionaires can't exist or billion-dollar corporations can't be there. I'm saying that they're part of the problem. when you allow someone to make $1 billion a year, or let's do a more real number, a more real fake number. You allow somebody to make $100 million a year, right? And then you say that somebody else, let's say a homeless person, they have no way of making $1. And you say that's fair because of there's no sound argument for that. It's an interesting thought. I'm piecing together this argument as we're going along, just so we're clear. I have not thought about this. This is something that we're talking about together or to myself. But where are these people supposed to work if you release them from prison? The answer is there's nowhere for them to work, right? Because there's a finite number of jobs currently. But why are there a number of finite jobs? It's because there aren't enough people that have access to wealth to build the business that they want for themselves. And then we've allowed these billion-dollar corporations to go, hey, you want to make even more billions of dollars? Take your money out of the country. You started here, but it doesn't have to end here. And we said, you know what? To make the billionaires and the billion-dollar corporations even happier, we should give them a tax break for leaving the country and importing the goods, saving them even more money, making more billions of dollars, while again providing no help and no wealth to the people. To where they came from where they came from. Correct English is a bitch. So now, not only we're stuck with our prisoners stuck in jail because they don't have access to the jobs that might exist in their actual job market, but now we also have our military on a constant rotation in the circle in the middle of the sea, because again, we can't tell them to come home because they don't have somewhere to work, right? Like, they'll get their residual checks, but how long is that going to last you? You need a job. But again, I ask you, where are you supposed to work? If your only option is to work for billion-dollar corporations, we're eventually all just going to fail, right? And that's a genuine question, just so we're clear. But it's a simple question, right? If you were to release, let's not even say prisoners, because let's say that you have a bias towards them for some weird reason. If you were to tell all of everyone that you know in the military to come home tomorrow, where would they work? Hey man, there's no more war. The entire world decided, you know what? We got enough nuclear power to blow us all up. So let's just leave each other alone to prosper and thrive. So all your militaries just come back home and we'll just thrive together. Where are they going to work? And if your answer is, well, then they create a business. So they got to go to the billionaires to get their business started. How's that worked out so far? So that was the question, right? We can all ask questions all day. I had a fourth grade teacher. She had, we were in class one day, and I had a very curious friend. He just kept, kids are curious. He just kept asking, what if? What if this? What if that? Well, what if this happens? What if this happens? And the teacher, she just stops. She just goes, how about you ask me a question without using what if? And you just stop. He's like, oh, well, I never thought about that. Right? So we can all ask as many questions as we can possibly think of, but are we getting anywhere without any good answers? So how do you solve that problem? Obviously, the clear-cut answer is you need more jobs. But obviously, that's not how this works. What if we all agree that most of us agree that $1 billion is an abundance of money. What if we all just agreed that there's a cap? Somehow we've all agreed on a minimum, but nobody said, hey, there should be a cap. Kind of like, the best way to describe it is, I think it's called a Indian running drill, where the person in the back has to catch up to the person in the front, right? But that means that there's a top. So why can't we structure our system that way? There's a minimum, but there also has to be a cap. And the reason why there has to be a cap is because we continue to raise the minimum as people want to continue to break that cap. If that makes sense, I have no clue. It's a thought that I'm piecing together right in front of us. Right? So let's just say we go, all right, so we agree that the minimum wage is now $10 an hour. Well, we also agree that no individual should make more than $150 million a year. And if you make more than $150 million a year, you know what? Let's just go crazy. We'll say $1 billion. Not even a year, but we'll say $1 billion, just to whatever. Let's say that the cap is $1 billion. Well, once you reach that $1 billion cap, what ends up happening, and this is just an idea, what if the government just goes, okay, now we give you the black card, right? Anything that you want is now on us. But now you understand that every dime that your company or you make after that $1 billion goes back down into the economy. It's a different form of taxation that doesn't affect the poor people, the middle class, or even the middle class. It affects the people that are sitting on gold and don't know what to do with it. Well, hey, you don't trust the politicians to put this back down into the economy? I agree with you. Because all they do is take the money that you give them and put it towards a fake thing called stocks. It doesn't actually help the people because the people can't afford stocks. That's a luxury, right? If I'm gonna go out and buy a $50 stocks, well, you know what I gotta have? $50. What if I don't have $50? Oh well, it's a lose game. So anyways, what if we just give them a black card? Go, hey, everything's on us from now on, but everything that your company or you make now goes back down into the economy, so we can actually start to push forward as far as raising the bare minimum, right? Because at the end of the day, you don't need $1 billion and you can't spend it. And even if you do spend it, you're still worth the $1 billion because guess what? A bank took a bet on you. So if you go back to that bank and go, hey, I was worth $1 billion last year. Can I have a $5 million loan? That bank will go, I'll give you 50 because we know you're going to give it right back to us. Again, it's just the thought process we're walking through together. You take that black card, and now you can do whatever you want with it. If you spend your $1 billion a year, I don't have too much sympathy for you, to be completely honest. I don't have sympathies for billionaires as is, but sure. Maybe we figure out a way to make sure that doesn't happen. But we can cross that bridge when we get there. But for now, why not make a way so that more people have access to opportunity, wealth, so we can start bringing people home. So we can start giving people jobs that actually make sense and they want to do. We give people what America was built on, small businesses. Don't you guys miss those mom and pop shops? I know I do, right? Little pizza places, bakeries. Nah, now you just go to Target, go to Walmart. And again, they got a great business model. There's nothing against them. I'm just saying, I don't want to work at Walmart to make a Walmart. So why haven't we released prisoners convicted on drug charges? Why don't we bring home our service members? Is the answer really that simple? Or do we not know how to form the question? Or are the people that are running this country so fixated on building up their pockets even more before they get kicked out? I'll leave you with this. Another point that I've learned today from Crystal and Sagar, not today per se, but in the past, just some political stuff. Why haven't we made it illegal for Congress to not trade stocks? What? That doesn't even make any sense, right? You guys have access. You guys are the people that the business people go to when they say, hey, we want to do this with our business. And you guys approve it or deny it. And then you go home and you go, hey, I just approved this business getting this massive deal. We should put some money in that stock. And they didn't think anything was wrong with that. As if money laundering isn't illegal, as if racketeering isn't legal, as in what? As if insider trading isn't illegal. But again, these are elected officials. This is America. All right. Well, this has been Tough Ones with Ricky Oliver. Talk soon.